Excellent. I think we should go ahead and get started. Let me quickly share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen, Tyson, John? All right.
Yep, yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, perfect. Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our panel discussion today. I'm Kalyan, co-founder and CEO of AlmaBase. I'm joining you live from this beautiful city of Charleston, South Carolina. Really enjoying my time here. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy and enjoying the fall. Before we get started, some quick housekeeping announcements in terms of how the virtual panel discussion will work. I'm sure most of you know this, but as attendees, you're all muted and videos are off by default. So if your dogs are barking in the background, we can't hear them. Only the three of us as panelists will be unmuted and can be seen. So feel free to ask questions anytime during the webinar. You don't have to hold them till the end. And to ask a question, just type it in on the chat below. You'll see that at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And we'll respond to those questions as soon as we're able to during the webinar. We're also recording this, and a recording of the session will be sent to each of you after the webinar. So you can always refer back to the conversation wherever it makes sense. Perfect. Housekeeping out of the way, let's get started. I'm super delighted to be joined by two wonderful co-panelists. Tyson Chastain is the Director of Alumni Relations at Johnson University. Johnson University has campuses in Tennessee and Florida. Tyson's joining us from Tennessee today. He has a BA Bible and Missions and an MA in Theology from Johnson University itself. So, Tyson has been working with his alma mater for nearly 2 decades, apart from being a proud alum. Tyson's deeply passionate about higher education and advancement and strives towards building bridges of communication among people of different languages, cultures, and socioeconomic classes, built carefully through patience and reasoning. And his work with the advancement team over the years is a testament to his passion. Tyson, once again, thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom with all of us.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
And John Eppensteiner is the Director of Advancement and Alumni Relations at St. Joseph High School in New Jersey. His responsibilities at the school include engaging their 10,000 constituents through various alumni programs and fundraising campaigns throughout the year. John has worked with the school's advancement team for nearly 3 years now. He's also a proud alum of the school, so that's a pattern. Having graduated in 2002 and outside of work, John is deeply passionate about environmental education and sustainability. He also has experience working in corporate sustainability, environmental management, and the water industry. John, once again, thank you for joining us today. I can't wait to learn more from you.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And I'm so excited that we're able to have this conversation. At AlmaBase, we're always looking for ways to support and grow the alumni relations and advancement profession. I'm very passionate about doing this because it started with my own personal experience. About 14 years ago in 2007, my co-founder Sri and I met in college in India, where we're from. And while we were still in college, we got involved in a situation where a lack of scholarships led to a personal struggle for the both of us. And at that point, we ended up, contacting alumni, raising funds to prevent several students from being forced to drop out. We had sort of established a nonprofit organization to continue this effort, but essentially through that entire experience, we realized that the relationship between alumni and their alma maters was broken, or it could be significantly better, not just at our institution, but at most educational institutions globally. And that's what led to the creation of AlmaBase about 7 years ago. Our mission continues to be to help institutions make their education more affordable to everyone by driving more participation from alumni. Right? And today, over the years, we've been really fortunate to be serving hundreds of universities and schools, helping them cultivate meaningful lifelong relationships with their alumni. And It's fantastic to see so many of you joining us today. Welcome again. Let's dive right in. Let me stop sharing my screen and get into some questions first. And again, feel free to sort of add your questions into the chat as we go along. Let me start with you, John. Can you maybe start with explaining what your plans for Giving Tuesday this year are? What's the purpose of the campaign? How are you sort of positioning it to your donors?
Sure. Have to excuse me if you hear see a 2.5-year-old run. I'm sure we're all used to that by now on Zoom, but yeah. So Giving Tuesday at St. Joe's, it's really evolved over the past, let's say 2-3 years since I've been there. A couple of years back, it was just might have been one email that went out and said, "Hey, it's Giving Tuesday. It'd be great to see some gifts in." But when we started with alumni, started utilizing the giving pages that they have, and we actually do 2 giving days throughout the year. We have our main St. Joseph Giving Day is in March, which is positioned generally for our annual fund and for support of the school in general. So we're really using Giving Tuesday for more specific asks and specific needs of the school. So last year, we ran our Giving Tuesday specifically for technology upgrades at the school because of COVID and the pandemic. We needed some smart boards, some new pieces of equipment that the principal had asked us for. So we said, "Hey, why not? Let's put it out there." And we had a really successful day. This year, we're doing a specific fundraiser for our campus ministry, and actually to get more of our students to be able to go on service trips. Campus ministry is a big part of St. Joe's and community service, but sometimes these trips, may cost up to $500, $800, and we know that there's students that probably don't even come to us, and because they know that their parents wouldn't be able to afford that. So we wanted to make sure every student at the school had an opportunity to participate in whatever service opportunities they could find. So that's what we're doing this year. Our goal is $30,000 to really start that fund, so we can provide all students with those opportunities.
That's great. Tyson, what about you? What's your plan for Giving Tuesday this year?
Well, for the last several years, we've focused our Giving Tuesday efforts on raising funds to help our first-generation students. In higher education, first-generation students face a really unique set of challenges because they don't have parents who have gone through the process of college admissions. They don't know how to get scholarships, and there's just a lot of different things that they face. They often face even some challenges when they're on campus related to more homesickness than their peers might have, that kind of thing. So we just recognize that this is a population that has significant need. And so every year, Giving Tuesday, we raise funds to specifically help these first generation students succeed. And not only succeed, but thrive. I mean, we try and make sure that with the funds that are raised on Giving Tuesday, we're doing more than just saying, "Hey, here's a scholarship." But sometimes they come up, they have needs. They typically come from less affluent families, so they'll need help purchasing books or getting even just practical living supplies. So our Giving Tuesday resources are very much focused on helping these first generation students succeed. That's been our dominant emphasis for at least the last 3 years. As John said, when we first started getting into Giving Tuesday, it was kind of a, "Hey, here's an email. You all know it's Giving Tuesday today. Why don't you make a gift?" And there really wasn't a lot of intent and direction behind it. But that has certainly changed in the last several years. We've become very much more focused and intentional on what we're doing with the effort.
Yeah, what's interesting in what both of you are speaking to is sort of having a very specific theme, very specific purpose that you're communicating to donors. What's been your experience in thinking about sort of setting the goal? I'll probably start with you there, Tyson. How do you make sure you set the right amount of goal while communicating the purpose with your donors? How do you make sure you're not aiming too high, not aiming too low? How do you think about that?
A lot of the ways that we set our goal is really based on being aspirational, not being ridiculous and setting a goal that we just know based on past experience we have very little chance of hitting, but setting a goal that is above anything we previously hit. And even if we set a goal that is similar to what we've set in the past, the goal is to actually hit it on the day of giving and not roll it over a few days afterwards to collect a Christmas offering or whatever that applies to the same event or project. So for us, setting that goal is really looking at who our target audience is and what we think we can realistically expect if we do our job well. What we can realistically expect to be the return on that investment. Another key component that determines what we offer is what we can find in matching gifts. So we look for alumni, friends of the university, whatever, to make a commitment to match dollar for dollar whatever gifts come in. And so, if we can find the right kind of match, that will really help determine what we're going to do. And we did get a good match this year that's going to be the goal that we set for all of our alumni that we're reaching out to support this project.
That's very interesting. John, do you feel similarly about how to set the goal as well?
Yeah, no, the goal setting is, probably more art than science. As Tyson said, really basing off previous year's results. I know last year we set a pretty simple goal. I want to say, we had $10,000 for these two smart boards or these pieces of equipment. So it was really just the principal coming saying, hey, I need to find 10 grand somewhere. You guys help. We ended up raising $22,000 in our program last year. So this year it was, okay, we're pretty confident we can hit that mark again. We'll push a little past, but not too far past. So our goal this year is 30,000. But I think it's always good to have a way to kind of pivot even further, because I know when we've done our giving days in the past, you hit a goal maybe midday and you're like, oh man, I wish we would have set up the bar a little higher. But having maybe another reach number. So just as an example, last in the spring when we did our day, it was say $60,000 was the target. We kind of shot past that. We were close to 85. So we said, okay, let's make it $100,000 day. And that actually helped launch us. Really started to see giving. Once we were in those high 90s, and all told, we ended up around 130. So that'd be my one piece of advice: is no matter what you set your goal, make sure you have something to launch you, whether it's a donor target or if it's another numerical money goal.
Yeah, I know both of you sort of spoke about having a separate day of giving as well, apart from Giving Tuesday. Were there any concerns around, hey, like, how do we, I get this question a lot from the people that we work with, a lot of the schools and universities that we work with, saying, is this going to be overwhelming for our donors, right? How do we make sure we're not asking too many times? This doesn't become to yet another appeal. How do we make this stand out? How do we not overwhelm our donors, right? So how do you think about that, Tyson? Maybe I'll go with you first.
Well, interestingly, for us at Johnson, we are always in a fundraising campaign of one sort or another. And so Giving Tuesday here in November, and then also our Spring Day of Giving, kind of present us with two unique opportunities to do a very directed and focused sort of a fundraising effort. Our typical kind of general campaign fundraising that we do throughout the year, I'm trying to remember if it's six or eight appeals a year. We segment our donor base, so not everyone in our donor base is getting every single appeal that we send out, but we are always, asking some segment of our donor base to help with one project or another. But however, these giving days, they really do allow us to focus on a very specific project. So, that's a great question. You don't want to over ask. And for us, the way that we have mitigated that is by being intentional about who we're reaching out to, with what ask and at what amount, just being really careful not to alienate our alumni or to make them feel like we're ungrateful for what they already do for us.
Yeah, I think both the having a very specific purpose and then having a good segmentation strategy in terms of like who are you reaching out given what the purpose is also both. I think those are critical components, it seems like. I'd love to dive a little deeper into the segmentation bit, but John, how are you sort of thinking about making sure you're not overwhelming donors with the Giving Tuesday campaign?
Yeah, right. Kind of as Tyson said, it's always a concern, but you do have to realize, this is what we do, right? In terms of you're supporting the school, you're behind the mission, right? We're always welcoming of your support, and that's why I think, as Tyson said, having a very targeted, specific, intentional fundraiser, right? And last year was technology and COVID, and people could really see, this is what I'm supporting. This year, it's specifically core service. It's a big part of our mission. And our other Giving Day is much more of just a celebration of the school. It's kind of like raising your hand because you're behind St. Joe's. So I think, I'm hoping that there's not that overwhelm like that. They just keep asking me for money all the time. But I think the more clearly you can state, the case for why you're asking for the support, the better off you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's a question from the audience, which I think it will be good to sort of take it here. So John is asking, how does the pandemic, and in our case, Hurricane Ida, possibly affect the school's ability to set a goal? Either of you can take that. I'll probably read that out once again. How does the pandemic and in our case, the hurricane, possibly affect the school's ability to set a goal? Any thoughts?
For me, our goal that we set is very much based on expectations of what we have seen our constituent base doing. And the research that we have seen suggests that philanthropy has not fallen off in the midst of COVID and any other, natural disasters or anything else. Philanthropy really seems to be increasing. And so for us, it's just kind of reassurance that what we have been doing, we can continue to do without any real fears. I think, people who are on board with us are still going to be on board with us, whether we're facing a global pandemic or any other regional disaster.
John, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, no. To Tyson's point, I love our constituents, and we're lucky enough that the people that know us really well are really backing our mission and backing what we're trying to do. And I don't, they're going to want to see St. Joe's men go out into the world, no matter what is going on out, whether it's a hurricane or a pandemic. So I think it's just important to continue to speak about what you do, why you exist, why your organization exists, and there's going to be some ups and downs, but I think for the most part, just kind of stay the course. And and the research has shown, and we're still getting just as many donors, if not more, than we had before all this started.
Yeah, I'll just add in my 2 cents there. I mean, yes, through COVID, everybody feared what was going to happen from a philanthropic perspective when COVID just hit us. But, like you guys said, we're still seeing as many donors, as much donations, if not more than before. And I think I would say that the biggest learning for me with all of the schools has been start with thinking about what are the causes that your donors care about the most, and think about how can you connect the purpose of the campaign to what your donors care about, especially given what's going on around you at this point in time, right? So thinking about the pandemic and the hurricane in that sense, and sort of talking about, hey, are there any specific needs that came up as a result of that, and can we sort of communicate the purpose of the campaign to tie into that, is a good way to think about how you set the goal in such situations. Cool. I guess that's the only question for now. We will, okay, I see another question. So Ashley asks, are there any best practices for soliciting donors / alumni who could potentially match funds during Giving Tuesday? So you guys spoke about like the matching gifts. What are sort of the best practices in sort of capturing those matching gifts before the campaign? Tyson, would you like to go first?
Sure. So for us, looking for matching gifts, dominantly, we are looking at those donors who have proven a deep commitment to the university. And these are donors who have consistently made high-level contributions to support the school. They're donors that we can reach out to. It's kind of like, you know, we don't want to reach into the well too many times, but they are donors that we can reach out to. And if we present to them a compelling case for why we would really like them to offer a gift this year as a match, they are more than happy to do it, as long as we can create the compelling case to them. And so, yeah, we have a few donors that we can call on that way, that, you know, it's not necessarily asking them to do something over and above what they would normally do, but maybe saying, hey, instead of your next gift to us being $50,000, why don't you make, you know, your regular gift to us $30,000, but then offer us $20,000 that would be the match that we can use to challenge and inspire others. So it's just a matter of looking into the database and seeing those people that are already passionate about the work.
Yeah. John?
Yeah, again, it's having that that strong relationship with your donor base, and as Tyson said, you know, those folks that are going to be with you through thick and thin. I definitely echo these giving days are really opportunities for leveraging those gifts, right? Where you can show them that, hey, you know, look what happened last year when so and so gave the 10,000. It drove, you know, 100 more donors to come to the plate. I think when you can show them that, you know, hey, this has the biggest, giving this gift now has the biggest impact, I think it's much more likely that they'll be willing and able to give those gifts.
Yeah, and I think even like communicating to that donor about the fact that each of the dollars that they donate essentially has double the impact, saying
Yes.
that, hey, like we're going to sort of put this as a matched gift, and like, you know, every dollar gets double the impact, also creates the urgency for them and the other donors during your Giving Tuesday campaign, sort of saying, hey, even if I make a $10 gift, it's going to have $20 worth of impact because you're matching it, right? So I think that communication would be really helpful as well. I guess there's one more question. We'll quickly go into that before we move forward with ours. Sarah says, do you think it's beneficial to ask our own alumni for donations, but yet the funding is for our alumni association? I'm finding it hard to really advertise when I feel like I'm not reaching out to the correct audience, or would I have more success in asking businesses, etc.?
John, you want to take it first?
I could take a crack at that. One of the so some of the folks out there have done some galas or other types of events. A lot of times you have sponsors for those events where you publicize, you know, their support and show their business logo, this or that. So, you know, you can kind of look at these giving days in similar vein, right? That you have, hey, we thank, you know, XYZ business down the street for their support, and you have their their company logo on the website that, you know, shows that, you know, they're philanthropic, that they're part of it, nice community member. But I do think, you know, to the point about the Alumni Association, I think it's important really to have really define, you know, what the day is for, and not mix messages as to, you know, where the funds will be going, what they're being used for. So I think that, again, the more clearly you can make your case, more likely success you're going to have. And find those things that really, you know, the heartstrings, right, of your constituents, right? So ours is, we had many people in our gone through St. Joe's that have done community service, that have worked in campus ministry, guys that have gone on these trips. They're the ones that we reach out to first, and I think it speaks. They're happy to see these days being funneled back towards their thing that they're very passionate about too. So.
Yeah. I really do want to sort of talk about segmentation and targeting a little bit. I know both of you sort of touched upon it. How do you think about, like, among all of your constituent base, who are the specific people that you reach out to for Giving Tuesday? John, maybe I'll start with you. How do you think about targeting and segmentation?
Right. So one of the things that we've done in our previous Giving Days, so St. Joseph Giving Day, is we use basically a form and the leaderboards. So we said, hey, if you support the lacrosse team or basketball, raise your hand for this. And same thing with the clubs and activities. So we very quickly got a nice population of folks that raised their hand for campus ministry and said, yeah, this is what I was involved with at school. This is what I'm most proud of. This is what my gift is. Not necessarily supporting specifically that activity, but this is general kind of identification of your affinity, right? So I now have a good population of folks that I know are very much into service, very much into campus ministry. So I send out specific emails to them, or we'll touch base, get a couple of those alumni to do a video for the website that we send out via email. So having good data on what your constituent base is into, I think really goes a long way moving down for the future solicitations.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Essentially connecting the purpose of your campaign with sort of looking at which of your alumni or constituents have supported those kinds of causes in the past. That's great. Yeah, Tyson, anything you'd like to add?
Well, I absolutely love what John said. That kind of a connection is so valuable. For us, we have approached this from the perspective of really where we'd like to see our database and our givers move. So we are focusing this year, our segment is on non-donor alumni, that is alumni who have never, ever given to the university, and also on those who have given in the past, but maybe they haven't in the last 3 years. So, what we want to see is more alumni engaged in support of the university. And so therefore, we're making very intentional efforts to essentially increase our donor database. And we are going to do that through networking and leveraging relationships where, we have some great alumni who are well connected and who know a lot of these other alumni who are not well connected. And so it's a matter of kind of working together for the good of the university, obviously. Now we are very much focused on what we're doing is we are helping first generation students succeed. Yeah. It's a lot of students have come through here. They recognize that they received a great education at a great value. And the only reason they were able to receive that was because alumni and friends supported the school and made it possible. So they are then able to share that passion with their friends, colleagues, and help get them on board. So that's the way we're focused this time.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there about donor acquisition being a goal, right? Like you're essentially trying to find new donors given this purpose of this campaign. Maybe there's ways, like John said, for you to look at your database and see if you have the ability to look at alumni who were first generation students when they graduated. Because they're more likely to connect to the cause. And if there's a way to do that, then that's far more targeted as well. I also love what you said about like that, using the networks, right? Like peer-to-peer influence. You look at alumni that are already connected and then use their networks to sort of fan out the message. Are you doing anything around that intentionally to drive up participation during the Giving Tuesday campaign, Tyson?
Certainly are. We actually have what we call regional representatives. They are alumni that reside in strategic areas around the country, and these are alumni that actually help, make calls and contacts on our behalf. They're given a list of all the alumni within a 50-mile radius of where they live, and they'll make calls, find out if there's anything the university can do for them or if they have any information to update. These regional representatives will even go and have like meals with the alumni that they connect with. It's just a really neat way. These regional representatives have consistent meetings with like the directors here at the university so that they are informed of kind of the latest news and how to respond to maybe some problems that might have cropped up and those kinds of things. So these are really folks who are heavily invested in us. And so we reach out to them and say, okay, so for Giving Tuesday, we'd like to use you as a cog. You are the regional representative. Will you contact these alumni around you? And specifically these segmented alumni, these alumni who have never given, or these alumni who might have and haven't in the last few years. And that just really helps. We also look at alumni that we know are well connected that may not be a regional alumnus, but who have communicated and demonstrated a clear passion for the school. So we can reach out to them, ask them to reach out to their social community network. And I think it's a great way to go forward because they are already passionate about the school and they can share that passion then with others.
Exactly. Yeah. John, what about you? How are you sort of looking at sort of expanding the reach of your campaign?
Yeah, so two things. Similarly with Tyson, we have really great class chair program. So basically, we're the representative for their graduating class, and they're the ones that the emails come out from, and they've proven to be very successful, in galvanizing and rallying their guys from their graduating class. Part of the things that we've done, not necessarily for this Giving Tuesday, but for our St. Joseph Giving Day, was put out the participation kind of challenges, saying, hey, last year we only had 10% of our graduating class gave to the annual fund. We only need, let's say, 20 guys this year to beat that. That's our goal. Tell your buddy, if you're on a text chain, send them the link. So having those representatives out in your network is huge. These are the ones that have all the contacts. It's probably only 30% of my emails get even opened by people, right? So you really do need those guys that are communicating, you said, peer to peer. The other thing that we're doing is really utilizing our students. So as I mentioned, we have a campus ministry program. I have leadership, two seniors that are, St. Joe's High School. So, I really introduced them and gave to them saying, hey, how do we, let's think about the different personas in our constituent base. What message do you think would reflect, well with them, what would they grab onto? And let them be the ones that create the content, because I'm just an old guy. I don't have any interesting, fun ideas. They're the ones that want to put videos. So, let them run with it. But getting more people on the bus to help support different volunteer avenues, I think is a great way to get the wider community involved.
I love the idea of trying to get the students involved as well, both in terms of spreading the message, but also in creating the message. One of the things that's really interesting about the Giving Tuesday campaigns for me is just the element of gamification, that healthy sense of. You still hear me? Can you still hear me?
You paused for a second there. Go ahead. Try it again.
Sorry. Some Wi-Fi issue here. I was saying, what's interesting for me about these Giving Tuesday campaigns is that sense of gamification, or that element of sort of healthy competition, right? Where you're trying to drive up participation. People get that sense of competition, trying to sort of make sure their class stands out or their group stands out in some way, right? Are you using any tactics like that to try and drive participation at your Giving Tuesday campaign this year?
John, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have done that for our other giving day, where we had a leaderboard for each class, and that was something that guys really latched on to. And the same thing with the different clubs. Not necessarily going to do it for this Giving Tuesday because there's a lot to coordinate and to drum up. So maybe in the future, I might do that next year to see if that's something. Say, hey, last year we had guys from our class participate in Giving Tuesday. We can do that. I'm very much in favor of that gamification. So maybe we'll do a variation of that, whether it's students versus alumni versus parents, putting those constituent groups. Everybody loves competition at our school, so
inevitably for us, we always have some sort of gamification going on with it, whether it's like we have 7 schools in the university, maybe it's alumni who have graduated from one of these 7 schools and what school's in the lead. It could be related to class year or location. We actually pitted campus against campus one time. We're a university has a campus in Tennessee and one in Florida. And so we kind of put Tennessee alumni against Florida alumni and Tennessee faculty staff against Florida faculty staff, that kind of thing. I think it's always a great kind of not a high pressure thing, but kind of a great way to motivate a little bit more generosity. So for example, last year, I really pushed my graduating class, my undergraduate graduating class, to be a part of it and to make a gift. And so I think it just because I am who I am as a representative at Johnson, my graduating class responded and were at least in numbers, they were the largest graduating class supporting the initiative last year. So we'll do some gamification again this year. It'll look a little bit different, always does look a little bit different, but it's always a great kind of a neat add to the event.
Yeah, I see the pride in your eyes when you say that your class won. That's exactly
That's right.
the sense of competition that you're trying to drive. Not necessarily high pressure, like you said, but keeping it healthy, keeping it fun, keeping it something that they can look forward to.
Exactly.
And I think even like matching gifts, for example, I've seen a lot of campaigns become very creative in terms of how they use the matching gifts, not necessarily just a simple. I mean, you could just start with a simple one-to-one match, but then sort of saying, oh, if we hit let's say a milestone, like 100 donor milestone, we're going to unlock this video where, like, the president of the university will come and share a message, right? Things like that to try and keep driving up that participation throughout that day, right? I'll actually, quickly share my screen. I just want to kind of start summarizing here, in terms of some of the things that we've been discussing, right? For me, looking at all of these different campaigns that we've been fortunate to help enable millions of dollars in Giving Tuesday donations, from sort of various institutions over the years, one of the things is definitely sort of, healthy competition, right? Sorry, just hold on one second. Yeah. Yeah, both of you sort of touched upon like why it's important to sort of do that level of gamification to be able to help people drive. I mean, also create urgency to make that donation right now, right? As opposed to saying, hey, I can do it anytime during the rest of the year, right? We also spoke about peer-to-peer influence, right? Making sure that you're able to leverage every supporter's network to be able to drive more gifts is really important as well. Like we said, yes, we send out emails, yes, we may send out mailers, etc., but you only reach a limited portion of your constituent base. You really need your constituents to be able to reach out to the rest, right? We spoke about creating urgency to give now. We spoke about the need for matching gifts, and you can get really creative. I mean, I remember a campaign where they said if we hit our goal, a certain dean or someone of the university would sort of shave his mustache after 30 years, never done it. Something fun like that to be able to sort of spur the momentum of the giving day, right? And I guess something that we haven't really spoken about a lot, but is very critical to the success of any Giving Tuesday or any Giving Day campaign is also how do you make sure it's easy for donors to give, right? You want gifts to be quick, whichever device they're on, wherever they are, even if it's a mobile phone. Like we live in that sort of one-click checkout age, right? Like you can buy on Amazon in like 2 minutes. It shouldn't take you longer than that to make a gift, right? If it's going to take 20 minutes with 30 different fields to fill on a form and things like that with a clunky experience, you're very, very likely to lose out on a few donors, right? So yeah, those are sort of the elements of making a successful Giving Tuesday campaign or any giving day. Really quickly, I just wanted to also sort of, for those of you that are new, haven't used AlmaBase before, I just wanted to give a quick overview as well. With AlmaBase, just like Johnson University and St. Joe's has done, you can create those wonderful giving day experiences, but you can also do much more. Whether you want to create private online communities for your alumni, create content that your alumni will find valuable, run events, run other fundraising campaigns, email marketing, etc. AlmaBase can essentially help you create and run those programs efficiently. And I think where this all comes together is that we help you also measure all of that engagement, not just event attendance or donations, but the ability to measure any programs that you have or any content that you have, whether it's being consumed, etc. So essentially, you can think of AlmaBase as a set of tools that allows you to create alumni-centric engagement programs for your institution. And I'm sure most of the people in the audience here, their institutions already have a CRM. So essentially, AlmaBase is that all-in-one tool that gives you everything else beyond a CRM to sort of run a successful alumni engagement and fundraising program, right? Since we are sort of talking about what gamification elements look like and things like that, I just wanted to give a quick visual reference as well. So this is the kind of giving day or Giving Tuesday page that you can build with AlmaBase, where essentially people come in throughout the day, they can see how far the campaign has gotten, make it really easy for them to make a gift, right? And then this also brings in that element of sort of that consistent feel of sort of like social media, where you're constantly seeing something new. So new gifts keep coming in, and other people can sort of say, I'm making this gift in honor of, in support of, etc. And then there's the leaderboard where you can track, like, Tyson and John spoke about, like class reps, regional reps. You can actually ask them to share their unique link, and you can track who has the biggest influence in sort of impacting this campaign and sort of communicating to donors that, beyond their gift, they can actually create a larger impact as well by sharing the message, by spreading the message further, right? And, also creating challenge gifts right here to be able to sort of unlock those challenges as you get along in terms of the milestones of the day of giving, etc. So yeah, I just thought I'll quickly show that. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Any closing thoughts? I guess I'll just ask one question to sort of try and wrap this up. John, what is one thing that you think would be the biggest piece of advice for anybody that's listening in today in terms of what they should look at? I know we've only got like 2 weeks to Giving Tuesday this year, but what's one thing that you think they should rethink or relook at before they hit their Giving Tuesday campaign?
There's for me, it's having a very clear, concise message as to why you're doing this Giving Tuesday. There's so much noise. Every nonprofit's fundraising on Giving Tuesday, right? So you have to have something that connects with your constituents. You're not going to get everybody, but something that is very important, is a clear need for the school, and it's going to have a clear benefit or value to those that you're giving that gift for. That would be my advice, is just really heading home the messages. This is what this money is going to do at our school.
Makes sense. Tyson?
For me, I'd say just don't take it all on yourself. Recognize that there are people out there who are more than happy to help you. And all it takes is for us to ask them for their help. And the ask for their help doesn't need to be something big. Actually, Colleen, you mentioned earlier, asking somebody to give $10 and maybe challenge others. That's really the best thing I can do is to these regional reps and these people I'm calling ambassadors, if I just say, hey, before Giving Tuesday, if you'll give $10 and then challenge 10 of your friends to give 10.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. I mean, it's the little steps that are going to help us get that goal. And we have so many people who are out there who I know are willing to help us because they're passionate about what we do.
Yeah, I love that. I love both of those. Like, make sure you ask, and then make sure you have a clear, compelling message and purpose that is being communicated to donors. That's awesome. Let's see if there are any questions here. Yeah, doesn't look like anything. Let's give it a couple of minutes. If anybody has questions, feel free to type them into chat. Tyson, John, in the meantime, anything else that you want to sort of bring up that you think will be helpful for the audience? A lot of the audience, I looked through the registration list. I saw that a lot of the folks were from mostly education institutions, and most of them are doing a Giving Tuesday campaign. I think, so essentially, most of them are in that state right now where, last 2 weeks left, just prepping up, making sure everything is, in place. Any final thoughts on, anything that will be helpful for them?
Having done a couple of these, giving days now, it is really good to have that, run a show, that script of, hey, at 10 o'clock, we're going to do this, at 12, at 1, at 3, and to be able to, map that out throughout the day in terms of content that goes out. Honestly, that'd be one piece of advice too, is don't be bashful on this day. We're gonna, put it all out there. People know that there's going to be, a lot of asks and a lot of emails coming through, but hey, we're doing this for a good cause. So if you have an extra couple of things in your inbox, no big deal. So you gotta put yourself out there and hope for the best.
Yeah, love that. Howard has a question. Any experience with raffles? Do either of you have any experience with raffles during Giving Tuesday?
For us, one thing that we did as a challenge, we had challenges every hour where, if certain people gave, or if people gave at this level, this hour, they would all get this, or anybody who gave a gift in this hour, they'd be entered into a drawing to win this. So in a raffle sense, yeah, we actually had 1 hour where everybody who gave a gift of 50 or more would be entered into a drawing to win a private dinner with our president and first lady of the university. And it's just neat little things like that. So, not really a raffle where we're selling tickets and saying we're going to draw something, but just saying if you're involved with us, we'll put something out there for you.
That's nice. John, anything that you've experienced?
No, we haven't done anything like that, but I really do like that idea. So I'll probably borrow that as some sort of challenge. Hey, this is the match power hour or whatever. Anything you do now. There's probably some good things our kids can think up for
Yeah, lean on the younger folks to figure that out. Actually, the only other question here is also related to that. So Margaret asks, how do you engage younger alumni to donate? I guess I'll just add a couple of things, and I'd love to hear what you both think as well. One, I would say focus on participation with younger alumni more than the dollar amount. So I think keeping it simple for them, making it easy for them to donate is really big, right? Like, even like just a quick, hey, here's my Venmo of $10 or whatever, right? Like making it easy to donate, and really thinking about the peer-to-peer influence thing aspect that we spoke about, right? Like you have a young alum who's receiving an email from you, and they're like, I don't know if I'm interested. And then suddenly they see one classmate saying, hey, I donated $10 to this campaign. And then they're like, okay, that's interesting. And then they see the second classmate, and then I'm like, okay, I need to participate as well and do my bit, right? So I think using that peer-to-peer influence is really big. And I think that's what's really working when it comes to young alumni. What do you guys think, Tyson?
You're right on there, especially those younger alumni who have demonstrated a passion. We're leveraging them, using them for expanding our reach. One of the things that we've done here at Johnson, actually, in the last few years is established young alumni giving societies. And what we've done is essentially given them a very easy on-ramp, a minimal gift per month, and it's an automatic credit card donation. You know, that they set it up once, they don't have to think about it. And well, we'd like them to continue to think about us, you know. It's just what you said, making it easy. Really, that is a big difference. That's one of the things I've got to say. I know you didn't ask for this, but that's one of the things I appreciate about AlmaBase's platform is it is very easy for alumni to just, you know, click, I want to go to this fund and this is the amount, and bam, they're done. You know, it's really a great tool. So it's been good that way.
It's awesome. Thank you for saying that. I will say that I didn't pay Tyson to say that. But John, what's been your experience with driving participation from younger alumni?
Yeah, so peer-to-peer is definitely, but I do like the ease of using technology, right? So making sure the link goes out on your Instagram and on Twitter and on YouTube, and say, hey, just share this link, or you send it to your class, your early class reps. Say, hey, I know you guys are on group chats, right? Just share the link with the guys on there. And again, AlmaBase is very conducive to okay, yep, looks nice and pretty. Here's my button, click, and it's done. So just getting your information out in as many channels as possible.
Perfect. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. This has been great. I think there are no additional questions here, so I think we can call this a wrap. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, and I hope that everybody who's joined in got a couple of actionable learnings from the conversation. Thanks again for joining. Feel free to start dropping off now. Tyson, John, I would appreciate if you could hang in there for a couple of minutes. I see somebody raised their hand. I just want to make sure we address that. I guess that was by mistake. Cool. I guess we can end this. Thanks again, guys. This was really nice.
Been my pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.